Hear what's playing at the Wichita theaters. At the Orpheum, the first James Bond adventure, Dr. No and Dee Dee Duo.
Hold it! May we call your attention to Mr. Bond's impeccable tailoring from London's Savile Row? The shirt is of hand-tailored Indian Madras. Also the cravat, hand-woven of Javanese batik. An essential feature of Mr. Bond's wardrobe is the pistol in his right hand. It is a Walter PPK 7.65mm. It takes a Brausch silencer with very little reduction in muzzle velocity. It has a delivery like a brick through a plate glass window. His secret agent code number is 007.
If you carry a 00 number, it means you're licensed to kill, not get killed.
Mr. Bond's profession involves deluxe travel, exotic climes, exclusive clubs. In the course of a working day, Mr. Bond encounters transportation specialists. Military analysts, atomic scientists. In the course of a working night, Mr. Bond mingles with golf pros.
Now you maybe miss it.
You don't miss a thing.
Travel guides.
Hello? Oh, Mr. Bond. I was thinking, why don't you collect me at my apartment? It's lovely up here in the mountains.
Specimens of marine life. James Bond, secret agent number 007. The 00 means he has a license to kill. When he chooses. Where he chooses. Whom he chooses. Now the hero of the Ian Fleming novels, the favorite of millions from Hong Kong to Hyannisport, bursts out of the bestsellers and onto the screen. Now the most extraordinary gentleman spy in all fiction becomes a flesh and blood experience in the kind of breathtaking adventure that only Ian Fleming could create.
Jake can build another nightclub. Stop it, Dara. You haven't changed at all, have you? You're still this selfish, conniving, what do I get out of it, Dara? Well, you can leave any time, because there's nothing here for you. Nothing at all. You're mistaken, sister dear. You ought to know me better than that. I never let go of a good thing.
Tomorrow at the Miller, come fly with me and the racers.
Can I tempt you, sir?
Excuse me, I'm the new girl. I'm late. But I locked myself in the bathroom and couldn't get out.
We lose some of our best people that way.
Come fly with me. That's your invitation to join these three airborne lovelies on a round-the-world manhunt. Dolores Hart stakes out some real nobility for herself.
Oh, what a marvelous cigarette case. Is that your coat of arms?
Carl Bohm, complete with crest, title, and a police record.
Very nice having you with us.
I hope I'll see you again soon.
I hope so, too.
Well, how about tonight?
Lois Nettleton picks a big oil man from Texas, Carl Malden.
Well, it just happens you got a couple of squares on your hands.
You kidding? Me too. I am the biggest square in North Paris.
Put her there, son.
En garçon qui connaît la chansonnette, il a fait sa moisson de refrain de Paris.
Only a reckless lass like Pamela Tippin would set her romantic sights on a jet jockey like Hugh O'Brien.
Ray.
Oh, it's quite all right. She's a second cousin on my mother's side.
He's a pilot with a girl in every port. Every airport, that is.
Stop looking so gun-shy.
Katie, if I was your husband, I'd be after me with a whole arsenal.
Get off of there! Get out! Get out!
What is it?
Hurry! Her husband!
Come fly with me as your bid to take a fling at life, love, and laughter. Around the world in 80 minutes of jet-age entertainment. Filmed against the dazzling excitement of some of the most glamorous spots on Earth, with a top-flight cast of exuberant young stars and the voice of Frankie Avalon.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Fly away.
Greatest interest today is centered on Burano's young ace, Michel Caron. He is the leading contender for the #1 position, held by Borghese last year.
Returning tomorrow at the Boulevard Theater, War and Peace.
War and Peace. Now, after a decade of preparation and 2 years of photography, this unparalleled motion picture encompasses all the novel's tremendous scope, the chaos of war, the glittering pomp and spectacle of peace, with these great stars. Audrey Hepburn reaching the pinnacle of her career as Natasha, the glowing beauty who was torn between the conflicting loves of 3 men. Henry Fonda, entirely different than you've ever seen him, as Pierre, the idealist who worshipped her.
If I were not myself, but the handsomest, cleverest, best man in the world, and if I were free, I should not hesitate for one moment to ask on my knees for your hand and your love.
Mel Ferrer, scoring a triumph of artistry as Andrea, the cynical officer who surrendered to her heart-touching innocence.
Do you love me?
Yes, yes.
Vittorio Gassman as Anatole, the decadent playboy, who unleashed a guilty passion that almost destroyed her.
I can't, you know I can't.
Gorgeous Anita Ekberg, perfectly cast as the sensuous Helene, who made many men her slaves. These and a host of other stars reflecting the life of an incredible era. The luxurious country estates in the calm before the storm. The conquering hordes of Napoleon, poised for his greatest adventure. The gallant defenders of the motherland marching to victory. Their drunken rebels on the eve of battle toasting the glory in store. A dream shattered by the thunder of cannon and the bloody point of the bayonet as tens of thousands clash in mortal combat. The nightmare of crushing defeat. The terrifying panic of a city in flight. And through it shines the eternal light of a love story that will live through the ages. Now you'll see it all, the overwhelming spectacle of Moscow in flames, the death march through the white hell of Russian winter, history's most awesome panorama in the motion picture of the century.
Cinerama Search for Paradise at the new Uptown Theater.
For some time, I had been dreaming and planning of a new Cinerama production built around the idea of man's eternal search for Shangri-La. Your search and mine for a paradise on earth. So now, a Cinerama expedition to the world of the Himalayas. A search for paradise.
To the north of India, we fly on to the hidden valleys beyond the snowy ranges. Valleys next door to nowhere. Here in the Karakorums, the mountains are, on the average, almost twice as high as the Alps, with 60 summits rising above 22,000 feet. Mustafa, our Hunza driver, knows every turn of the road, every inch of the way, every loose rock, why he could drive this mountain trail with his eyes closed. But don't you dare close your eyes, Mustafa. Ah, this could be it, a land of escape, far from the hustle and bustle of the modern world, if you're in search for paradise. Hunza's national game, polo, which they say originated in these regions. These Hunza Kutnachinskis, some of them, are the chief men of the villages. A sword dance that recalls the time when the people here were wild raiders and looters. The Indus. Some have said that the gorges of the Indus would never be run. A challenge. And now a Cinerama exploit on a frontier of river exploration. No turning back now. So through we go. On the road to Kathmandu for an event of international importance. The coronation of a king.
See Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds at the Crest Theater, the beauty spot in the Southwest.
How do you do? My name is Alfred Hitchcock, and I would like to tell you about my forthcoming lecture. It is about the birds and their age-long relationship with man. It will be seen in theaters like this across the country. In my lecture, I hope to make you all aware of our good friends, the birds. Theirs is a noble history, and through it all, man has played a conspicuous part. This cave drawing is one of man's earliest sketches of his feathered friend. One can see at once the loving care with which the artist depicted his subject. The story of man and his friends, the birds, is filled with many fine examples of ways in which these noble creatures have added to the beauty of the world. Take this plumed hat from the period of Charles I. How proud the birds must have been to have their feathers plucked out to brighten man's drab life. Here we have a later model, a refinement of the first. Here man, or rather woman, thought enough of the birds to have an entire one as a decoration. It's quite dead, of course. Naturally, the egg plays a very prominent part in my lecture. Not a word about which came first, however. I don't believe in dealing with controversial matters. Thousands of years ago, man was satisfied merely to steal an egg from a nest and use it for food. Now he has perfected this process by imprisoning each hen in a separate cage and by scientifically manipulating the lights so that she doesn't fall into the rut of the old 24-hour day. Thus, he can induce the bird to reach fantastic heights of egg production. Originally, there were many varieties of birds on Earth. Some have become extinct. The great auk, the passenger pigeon, and the famous dodo bird have all disappeared. Actually, they didn't exactly disappear. They were simply killed off, but of course, this is nature's way. Man merely hurries the process along whenever he can be of help. Man and birds have been responsible for a great many advances in our civilization. For example, the bird was the inspiration for the invention of gunpowder, and it was his speed that brought about the development of the shotgun. But man has not been unmindful of his debt to the bird. We have honored our feathered friends in many ways. We cage birds and show them off proudly in most of our zoos. And the turkey is traditionally our guest of honor at Thanksgiving. I suspect you never realized that if it weren't for birds, even some of our pastimes would suffer noticeably. Duck hunting, for example. Granted, bagging a fellow hunter can be diverting, but the supply is rather limited. I hope you don't mind if I have something to eat, but I'm rushed today. Planning the lecture has been most educational for me. I've begun to feel very close to the birds and have developed a real sympathy for our little... What was I saying? Oh yes, I've come to feel very close to the birds and have come to realize how they feel when... I don't think I'll eat just now. Hardly proper with all of you here. Surely the birds appreciate all we've done for them. Don't you? Beautiful cage, fresh water, no other birds to bother you, none of that blinding sunlight. Oh! Now why would he do that? Most peculiar. What on earth?
They're coming!
Here's what playing at the Victory Theater. Here's what's playing at the drive-ins. Thanks for watching.